dead cities pulling 3 ways at once. Is Maggie hiding something? Because we have a theory about what's really happening. The wider Walking Dead universe is bleeding in through callbacks, and Renata and Negan are on a collision course that could change everything. So what's Dead City actually building towards? Let's get into it.
This episode very much focused on Maggie.
So Maggie and Luis go on a road trip to make a deal in order to get medical supplies. And we start to see kind of now a theme where Maggie is having flashbacks of Glenn.
Finally, I mean, we heard earlier in the episode, like very early in the episode, where she's reflecting on Eugene. And she's telling a funny story about how he was the only one left on the fire truck. We hear her talking about her dad. And it felt like a missing piece that she wasn't talking about Glenn, but we finally heard it in this episode, or we actually saw it in this episode.
Yeah, and there's a couple moments where she's thinking about Glenn, also thinking about, possibly moving on. And we see her multiple times grabbing onto her necklace that has the ring from Glenn.
Very sad moment at the end when they have the sinkhole and she almost risks her life and loses it just to try to get the ring that Glenn gave her. I don't blame her because that ties in a lot of beautiful moments that she had with her husband who was gone. But it was just a very big theme. Like, we've had Maggie on our screen for years since he passed, and I don't think we've seen her reference Glenn this much or the ring that much.
And it's been a theme all season. I mean, there's been countless Herschel flashbacks and remembering him, and even everything that they're kind of doing with the farming and the doctors. It's all just one big callback to Herschel and now Glenn. And we have a theory that it's not just TV magic.
Yeah, like there is a big part of it that we know there are different writers this season. And that's very evident just with the different tone. But there was a scene in this episode where Maggie seemed to have a delusion or a thought when she was dancing with Luis, where she kind of like imagined herself kissing him and then she kind of shook herself back. And at first glance, you might think, oh, she's thinking about it. She's not sure. It's just the hesitancy of it all. But when you put it all together with all the callbacks and how much she's reminiscing, is she sick?
It almost seems as though maybe there's an infection in her brain or maybe there's something that's causing this, because we've never seen so many flashbacks where she's in the moment and suddenly she's not, right? So there was Herschel teaching her how to do CPR when she was watching, her son do CPR, and then there's Glenn and all of those memories. But then she seems to fall into a memory where she thought it was real. And you could kind of see Luis looking at her, and you imagine she was just standing there zoned out because she was having this memory. We do know that there is a what if episode coming up.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be a dreamlike sequence where we get to see Beth if she never died. And who else would be having a dreamlike sequence and why? So maybe it is Maggie is sick. We're starting to see parts of it. I don't think she's going to die, honestly, because this is the one season of the one show where they have a well-established hospital and a surgeon who is very motivated to protect her.
But this could be a bigger reason for the need of that hospital and to keep that hospital standing. And we've seen a lot of talk about legacy this season, again, with them farming Central Park. That's very reminiscent of Herschel, with them accepting newcomers into Manhattan. That was Glenn's big thing. I mean, The Walking Dead would have never happened if he didn't walkie-talkie Rick and save him in that tank, right? And we've seen Negan this season helping, but very reluctantly. No real purpose to want to protect this new community. But if he knew that it was the way to save Maggie's life, that might have him key in a little bit more than he has been.
Yeah, and I think it might unite the group a little bit more, because right now they're all on the same path. Like, they're all kind of focused, okay, we're at point A, we need to get point B. But how they get there, I don't think they're on the same page yet, and this could bring them together.
And the woman that they go to visit for supplies says not once but twice, self-preservation needs to be the priority. So is this just another clue that they're going to need to do something to save Maggie's life?
If you're enjoying our content, hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps our channel grow and lets us know you want more Walking Dead universe deep dives, theories, and recaps. And I think most of us expected we were gonna see more of that original Walking Dead feel, but I'm loving how many callbacks we're getting.
And kind of a very unexpected one was the Eugene callback. It kind of, touches in on Luis and Maggie and their road trip, and she's ending her story about finding Eugene on top of the fire truck.
And the way that she's telling it, it's like she's telling a drinking story to a friend, like from her heyday.
It has a very happy feel, and it's very different than when she's been reminiscing about her dad, which had more of a melancholy, he was a good man feel, and not this jovial kind of telling to it, which we think means Eugene's still alive, as far as she knows.
And it brings the timeline into question again, because we know Dead City is the furthest in the future. With the aging up of Herschel, it easy must be 10 years ahead, maybe 8-10 years ahead of what happened in the finale of The Walking Dead. We also know that in there, the events of Daryl Dixon happen. So when we hear Maggie talking about these characters, right, and even Negan in the last episode, I'm paying very close attention to the language that they use. And is the difference in tone an indicator that Eugene is still alive versus other members that are no longer around?
I mean, I think every other person in that story is dead, other than Maggie and potentially Eugene. And I just can't imagine she would tell a story so lighthearted if every single person that was there was dead. And it does feel intentional in the way that Dead City is almost teasing us at this point with all of these callbacks. I knew a man, I'd call him an asshole, talking about Rick, and now talking about Eugene. All of these mentions of people that we know are alive or were alive last we saw them. And it just feels like they're going to give us something definite this season about where they left off with the safe zone and where those people are.
And tie it into what Scott Gimple recently said, I think even just last week, where he said there's going to be a lot of news in the coming weeks about The Walking Dead.
And could that first tidbit be from Dead City? Because he was on a Dead City interview when he said that.
And what a plot twist, because I think everyone thought Daryl Dixon was going to be the show that gave us the connection, the reunion, I'll take a post-credit scene at this point. But never did I think it would come from Dead City.
And it's just the turn Dead City made this season is so positive. I would have been disappointed if this had happened last season to find out that this was going to be the show that connected it. I'm so excited this time. This makes me excited to see more Negan. I want to see more Negan and Maggie. I wouldn't have said that a year ago.
Yeah, same. I used to be annoyed because I'd be like, oh my gosh, not that they need to get over it, because their history is so deep. As viewers, we felt that death, right? We felt like the pain and the animosity towards Negan, but it just got really hard to watch.
It got exhausting.
And this is bubbling up. It's showing the cracks in the facade, and I use those words very intentionally, between Renata and Negan.
And I think the way the show is presenting itself is kind of, Negan's almost the obvious enemy, the obvious bad guy. But I think it's really Renata. And he seemed to kind of allude to the fact that he was on to her, but without really any proof. He's just a distrustful guy, as you would assume they all would be. But we had those kind of thoughts or those guesses earlier in the season as well. And it does seem like there is something deeper happening with Renata.
Yeah, I don't fully trust her. I think that she tried to rope in Maggie a little too quick for somebody that, you would think is a little bit street smart, streetwise New Yorker. She bought into the Maggie show a little too quickly. I mean, we're like, what, 15 years in? Like, I'm bought in for a reason, but you just met her. I don't know.
And I think also it could just be her being naive and truly thinking everyone's great. We saw how quickly she jumped on board and was telling Dillard, you're a really cool guy. I like the way your brain works, and kind of trying to bring him in as well. So if that's just her way of help making everyone feel welcome or bringing them into this society, I guess we'll have to see. But maybe this is just the way The Walking Dead trained us to distrust anyone who seems a little bit too perfect on the outside and a little too friendly.
But she's also kind of trying to play Negan. Like, she's calling out, like, I know you killed the Dama. And she hasn't brought that information to Maggie yet. So I don't think our suspicions are completely unfounded. Like, she has her own motives too at the end of the day.
And it's hard to believe that Maggie wouldn't put that together herself. Somebody who is so smart, who has been in leadership positions, who offered that trade and knew that the Dama was on a hunger strike, that she wouldn't put those together herself. So you almost have to wonder, did she? And she was just kind of maybe grateful that Negan just took care of it for himself, because that is one less problem they have now. What feels like 3 separate storylines is really one slow burn reveal. Maggie's potential condition, the universe-wide callbacks, and Renata clashing with Negan. It's all pointing somewhere. And that somewhere is exactly what we're here to figure out, episode by episode. We'll see you on the couch. Talk to you soon. Bye.